Hello everyone, what's up? Fucking the motorcycle. This is Omar. I'm trying a new thing. You know, I usually have this habit of watching these crime shows, police integration, you know, when people do crime. I came across this closing argument about a guy named Timothy Jones. Don't let the name fool you. He's only about 4 feet long. And how he killed his kids. But I love the closing argument by the country lawyer. That fucking shit, man. By the time you finish, you feel like taking the guy outside and just shoot him right outside the court. Don't wait till the fucking years to come. Anyway, let's start and listen together. Ready? This is the closing argument for death penalty, the death penalty phase of Timothy Jones Jr. Don't let the name fool you. The guy's about 4 feet long.
Ladies and gentlemen,
See?
punishment fit the crime.
Hold on. I already messed up. I did not set the sound. You see, it's weird, man. This is the first time I'm using Streamlab, like I'm really, really using it. And, okay. Now we good. All right, let's start over. Now, listen to it closely, man. This shit is fucking exciting, man. You ready? Let's go.
You're searching for a punishment that fits this
crime.
Have you heard of any crime more horrendous than what you've heard when you came into this courtroom? Let the punishment fit this crime.
Damn. Guy's dead.
When each of you were selected as jurors, you sat on the witness stand.
That's right.
You were questioned, can you give life? All of you said yes, depending on those facts.
See?
You were asked, can you give death? Each and every one of you said yes,
They could.
under the right circumstances. The punishment has to fit the crime. The defense asked you, when you were jurors, up there, prospective jurors, before you were
Excuse
sworn
me.
in, would you reserve death for the worst of the worst?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of you knew that's the big penalty.
Yes.
My question is, isn't he the worst of the worst?
Oh.
Tim Jones, a man who brutally murdered his 5 children.
Unbelievable. Piece of shit. Look at you, you fucking piece of shit. Look at you.
You're going to have those two options, life
Look at you.
and death.
Sitting there like a dick.
Judge is going to tell you the process you got to go through before you can give either sentence. The law's going to be a little different this time. You've heard about statutory aggravating circumstances.
Yes.
That I got to prove. And the state has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. There's only 2 that we're presenting. We have to prove 1. And I'm going to tell you, we already have. It's a unique case. By the time you reached a verdict of murder, with those 5 kids you had already established, we had proven these 2 aggravating circumstances. First one, 2 or more persons were murdered by the defendant by one act, pursuant to one scheme or course of conduct. That fits. You can be asked that for every child.
That's right.
Each one of them falls into that category beyond any reasonable doubt. And the second,
As you can hear the fucking story, this kid, this man or this piece of shit, he killed 1 child. Then when he killed that 1 child, he thought he had to kill all the children because he already did it to 1. And the way he treated his children after they're dead, he deserved the death penalty, man. Just listen to the passion of this guy, man. This is a country lawyer. That's what they call a country lawyer right here.
second one's even easier. The murder of a child 11 years of age or under.
Fit the crime.
The oldest child in this case was
8.
8 years old. Nero. We've proven it. You have their birth certificates, you have their death certificates.
Yes.
You have their ages, and you know what we put in? It sounds really strange. We put your verdict form.
Yes.
The indictments showing what you've done. We have proven it. We proved it to you. So what does it mean? You've got 2 aggravating circumstances. We only had to prove 1. Is death automatic? No. Judge told you that's not how it works. And that's good. Because he's going to tell you there's other things you need to listen for, and you were already told this. mitigating circumstances.
Yeah.
Some are going to be statutory. He'll read off. Some are non-statutory, and he's going to explain that, things that aren't in a code book. You can consider, and there's no burden of proof. There's no beyond a reasonable doubt.
No.
He will even tell you you can have mercy and give life for no reason at all,
Yes.
without stating a reason.
Yes.
You have that power if you think that.
See, the lawyer is giving them all the fucking option. You can give them mercy, but he really wants him dead, you know, as you listen to the way he's talking, because he deserved the death penalty. If anybody deserved the death penalty, is Timothy Jones Jr. of what he did.
Fits this case. And say you find mitigating circumstances. Does that mean life is automatic? No. You can find both aggravating and mitigating circumstances and give death.
Yes.
The law allows that.
Yep. It's happening to the jury right now.
And give death. He's going to tell you there's other evidence. We generally call it character evidence. Evidence about that man over there, what kind of person he is.
Yeah.
Bad stuff. That doesn't replace or be used for aggravating circumstances. But you get that, you've already found aggravating circumstances.
That's right.
It's going to be character evidence. What kind of man is Tim Jones Jr.?
That's your piece of shit.
Look
at you. Look at you, you loser. You look like a loser.
What kind of
He was making $80,000 a year.
What kind of person he is. You also got to get a glimpse of who those little children were.
That's right.
You'd seen their faces, you heard their names, but you got to know a little bit about them.
That's right. Making him human.
Let's make an impact of it.
That's right. Put the human side on it. Put that
So
human
who is
side
Tim
on it.
Jones Jr.? Who
He-
is this man?
Piece of shit. Loser.
Well, you know right out of the gate,
He's a loser.
he is a murderer.
And a loser.
He murdered his 5 kids.
Piece of shit.
He is a mass murderer.
That's right, man. Piece of
He
shit.
committed the most heinous crime a human being could commit. He not only took life, he took the life of a child.
Wow.
5 children
Look at that passion, man.
who had trusted him. They called him Daddy.
Yes.
Is there any crime worse than that? He betrayed their trust. He chose himself over them, and they paid with their lives.
Wow.
That is who he is.
That's right.
You heard all about his life story. Growing up as a child, such a hard home, bad home. There's violence, there's drugs, there's cursing, there's swearing. You know what? It wasn't ideal. But you hear from his family, you know what they did? They insulated him. They recognized he was special. He's bright. He had a gift that no one else in that family had. They
Well-
found he had something that doesn't come along often.
That's right.
He had brilliance.
I don't know about brilliance.
He was a bright child, a gifted child, a child that could do anything he wants to do. They protected him. Dad, who loves him, there's no question Tim Sr. loves his son.
Yep.
And whatever faults you see in him, he loves his son. He protected him. He spoiled him. Did you hear his grandmother? Yeah, Tim Jones is a selfish man.
That's right.
That's her grandbaby on trial for his life, but she knew that's the truth. He's selfish. Tim Jones Jr. grew up knowing that he can manipulate his family.
That's right.
He grew up knowing that if he got mad and walked away, they'd come to him.
So you could tell he's probably, I don't know, from Alabama or Georgia, you know, from those states. So not to put it down, but he was probably the first one in the family to get a college education. And he was smart because he had he was especially classified as a smart kid as growing up. And he went to college, and he graduated on top of his class, and he worked for Intel. So in that part of the world, he's like Albert Einstein to them, to that family. And he's like, they take it way out of poverty. They thinking like that, but it turns out to be a tragedy. Like people, like a sport player who comes from a poor neighborhood and makes it in football and basketball and takes everybody out of the neighborhood with him. That's what they were hoping, the family, but it turns out to be a tragedy because I think he was probably sick inside his head because he had all that money and he was living a life that nobody should live.
That's who he is. He grew up knowing that. And maybe you can say, well, he had such a hard life. But folks, he had the opportunity.
And no hard
He
life.
had the gifts to be something so much more. His life is all about a choice. It wasn't predetermined. He chose to be what he is. He chose to be a murderer.
That's right. He chose, man.
Everything about him is me. As a kid, his dad felt the heartbreak of a marriage that fell apart. Who doesn't feel that when your marriage falls apart? And he sought a new wife, Carolyn.
So the strategy here is to make him as a selfish individual who only liked himself, only loved himself, while at the same time making the victims as human as possible. Because they are human, they are children. The 5 of them died under the age of 8 years old because of this fucking animal. But I love the closing argument with this guy. He's talking to the jury. Look at that. Look at those women behind him. They're like transferred. You know, he's like, you know, what he's saying. They are eating all the words that he's getting out of his mouth.
Timmy punished his dad. Never accepted Carolyn. Said she rejected him. We know he rejected her and he was jealous. He wanted his dad all to myself. It's about me. I will not be shared. I want 100% of whatever you have. I demand it.
Right.
Give it to me. And he grew up into a man. And he overcame so much. He got a college degree, the first and maybe the only one in that family. And not only that, summa cum laude. He was top of the top.
I don't know what summa cum is, but it must be high.
In computer engineering.
Yes.
He's brilliant.
Yep.
And he did it while married, while with kids. Who can do that?
Yep.
That man can.
Yo, close the door, yo.
Folks, he's thrown it all away.
Close the door.
His selfishness, his greed,
Close the door.
his demand to be the center of it all.
This door.
Is
God
he
damn these
wrong?
kids. Sorry, people. I live, it's my
He
house.
punishes those that reject him. And
Kids
it
gonna
got
stop
worse as he
fighting.
got older. That Christmas Eve in 2012, when he takes his kids to see
I love my kids. They're making all that noise. I love them. Not like this fucking idiot here.
a family that wanted to see those kids. He comes with an attitude.
Close the door.
Yeah, he's going through a divorce. And folks, maybe there is going to be a confrontation. Maybe he is going through things, but his reaction is classic Tim Jr.
No.
When the dad, the head of that house, steps in and says, son, this is enough. Tim Sr. was doing what any man of the house should do. Stop this. That's all it was. Stop it. And Junior, you're rejecting me. You're choosing Jackie over me. A grown man acting like, you heard Daddy say he acts like a baby. When he's 26, he was going on 16. He's a baby. He's a brat. And he packed his kids up on Christmas Eve. He deprived not only his family, but his children of family love on Christmas Eve. And he sat in the car with them and drove all the way to Mississippi to South Carolina. How selfish is that? But he's making a statement, and he never reached out to his dad.
Never.
1 year and 8 months go by. The lives of the children in his life. He never once says, Dad, I'm sorry. And yeah, his dad's stubborn too. But folks, no one compares to Tim Jr.
Look at you. You're fake. You're phony. You're fraud. Look at you. Bring him
How does this
outside.
go?
Bring him outside.
Marries Amber. He makes choices for her. They have multiple kids. He expects her to take care of all of them. He works. All right. But it gets worse. That stillborn child, that devastated her. And listen, you can think of Amber whatever you want. She never had anything. She finds a man that's brilliant, that shows some affection to her. But you can think whatever. This isn't about her. But what he did, and her pain that any woman would go through, bearing a dead child.
Yep.
How do you get over that?
Can't.
And his cure was get her pregnant again. Let's do it again.
Right away.
That one didn't take. We'll have another.
Wants to live the Bible.
And then opportunity comes. Intel. Incredible job. The job that he ended up making over $80,000.
That's a lot of money, South
No
Carolina.
one in that family had ever done that. And Tim Sr., I bet.
Nobody got past the fucking bar. I don't mean the lawyer's bar. I mean, where they drink in the town. He was working for Intel in South Carolina, $80,000 a year. That's a lot of fucking money to live over there. Excuse my language. I don't know if he's supposed to curse or not. But what I'm seeing here is that this idiot had it all. He had the income. He had the money. He had a wife. He had children. He could have lived a good life. Very selfish. What do you call him? Selfish. Jones? That's what his name? Oh, Jones?
Was the most proud man in the world, what his son had accomplished. Opportunity to rise above, to be different.
Yep.
To get out of all the past
Yep.
that had haunted that family.
Poverty, yep.
It's there. And Amber, wow, we have a chance. We, a family, have
That's
a
his
chance.
wife. Amber's his wife.
He didn't consult her dream. He didn't care about her dream.
Oh,
In his world, it's me.
selfish.
And he chooses an old mobile home. Dad said it looked like something off the set of Green Acres. Couldn't even fix it.
Nah, Green Acres like an old show from the 1950s. If you remember watching Bonanza and all those old shows, he went and bought a shack as a home and wanted to live like the Bible with a lot of children and animals. He was sick in the head.
It took about a week to fix the bathroom. And Amber, without a driver's license, without education, without a car, is supposed to sit in that house with a newborn and other kids. Oh, and by the way, Tim Jr. decided we're going to have a bunch of animals and you can take care of those too, Amber. No one will ever excuse her choice to leave or how she left. But can anybody really question why? Tim Jr. was so offended at her choice. Left for the kid next door, he says. What does he do? He pulls in a girl who just turned 17, barely out of 16, with
Statutory rape.
a child, come into my family, live with me, have relations with me like wife in the presence of my kids in my home. This is a man who says, I am Mr. Christian.
Yeah. He's not God.
Here's how life really worked. You heard his pastor in the last phase say he used scripture for control.
That's
and
right.
He sure did.
Everybody
the Bibles
does.
were bricks. He would beat them over the head with those kids. You will do right. You shall have no other love for anyone other than me.
Yep.
Except him. I will not be shared with anyone. I will have your full devotion, or you shall feel my wrath. The word according to Tim. And when that meeting came, it ended with, here endeth the lesson. That's the word according to Tim.
Yep.
And you've seen it. You've seen it. It culminates in what happens August 2014. But folks, go all the way back that episode in May of The Time. You're probably all wondering, what is it about that little boy, that little tiny child, that made him such a target? Amber, when the defense put her on the stand, Amber told you. He's a mama's boy. This little boy had enough love for both parents.
Yep.
What child doesn't? Children don't think in terms of absolute, I gotta love you and no one else.
You see what he's saying, that he hated the baby one, because whenever he saw his mom, he will cry or will run to her. He's a child. He doesn't know his mother. Like the lawyer said, there's no absolute love. Kids don't know about absolute love. They just love everybody. You give him a candy, he loves you. Children love everybody. They don't have that. But he hated him because he was gravitating toward his mother. Every time he sees his mom, it's his mom.
And so when he would see his mom in a parking lot, he ran to her with reckless abandon,
Reckless.
oblivious to cars.
Yes.
It's mommy, mommy.
I mean,
And is that bad?
Nope.
It is to Tim Jr.
yep, selfish.
You're choosing her over me.
Worst of the worst.
And he saw it in Mira too. She wanted to go live with her mom. Do you wonder why? It's not hatred on the part of these kids. They're yearning for love, and they're not getting it.
Yep. Wow.
And as this man's life is spiraling out of control, look, he knows where to get help. He's done it before. He chooses not to get help. He chooses not to have medication that can assist him. He chooses to self-medicate.
Oh, he had mental
He embraces
issues.
spice.
I know Spice is. Must be drugs.
And no one had better warning than this man. He
Look what
knows
spice
every
is.
chemical in that substance. He knows what it does to your body. No one can say they ever took that drug and had a better, clear-headed idea of what it does to you.
Yep.
But he also had
What's
this.
Spice?
His young brother, whose heart is absolutely torn apart. Y'all heard him. It was painful. He said, when my big brother told me he was using spice, I said, no, don't go down that road. I've been there. He had his own addiction to spice, his own hell with that drug. He knew what it did. Tim Jr. knows better. No one tells.
Oh, Spice is K2. Remember that they used to sell them? People used to go crazy and some of them died? That's what Spice is. I'm like, what the fuck is Spice? I'm from the United States. I don't know anything about drugs. Good.
Tells him what to do. He embraced that drug. He brought it into the house. He married spice.
Addicted.
And every child in that house felt it.
Yep. Abandonment.
And his son, Natan, was playing with Eli and apparently messed up a railroad track or something. What was the biblical correction this man gave his son? He took that hand, grabbed that child by the neck, lifted him off the ground, and shoved him against the wall. This is a case for mercy. This is life. Then he drops him down. Hard enough. You see the bruises on this child's arms, and even the bad photos, bruises on the face. Those teachers, those incredible teachers who are here today, saw those bruises and were mortified. They did exactly, Amy Shearer did exactly what she had to do. What did she say? Sometimes I love them a little too much. Jonathan Stone, who was the real father figure for this little boy? It sure wasn't the man sitting at this table over here. I tell you what, the Blood family, I'm not going to question whether they love or not. I'm really not when it comes to these kids. But we know this, they weren't involved in the lives of those children for a year and 8 months.
Yep.
Those teachers were. Every day, those kids came into their classroom. They tended to them. They saw their gifts, how unique they were. They loved them. Any parents sending kids to that school with these teachers should feel confident my kids are safe. But shouldn't a child be safe at home too?
That's right, man.
He cuts off all communication with those teachers.
Look at you. Look at you, loser. Look at
Won't
you.
sign homework, won't
Whip his
return
ass.
calls, and he singles out Natan,
Oh, my nose, man.
the middle child. He's not one of the older ones with extra responsibility because daddy trusts him. He's not the babies that get away with everything. He's in the middle, and he's got a bullseye now. From May to August, his life was hell. His dad punished him. You hear Mr. Stone say, this child will come to school and I bent down to pick him up one day, and this 5-year-old child, I was like, my God, my 2-year-old baby weighs more than this child.
Yep.
We know there's food in the home. When DSS went in that home, that was one thing there was. This man used it for punishment. And what would Natan bring to school? A piece of bread, some grapes. That's abuse. Who is that man? He is the worst of the worst.
Worst of the worst.
And Natan was feeling the full brunt of it.
Damn, everybody's eating every word. Look at that.
Tim Jr. punished his dad. He punished Amber. He punished Natan. And everyone was on notice. Don't cross me. August 28th, 2014. Y'all have heard about that. But now it makes more sense. Natan, the inquisitive child, interested in electronics, do you think he's got some of his father's curiosity? Probably hears about electricity with computers, circuit boards, how things work. It's a teachable moment.
Yes.
But not for that man.
No.
It's a criminal investigation, interrogation.
Yeah.
He brutally makes this child do these exercises that Dad couldn't do.
Fat fuck, yeah.
Dad washed out. He wanted to be in the Navy SEALs, please. He couldn't make it through basic training. He couldn't even pass screening to get in.
Yeah.
But, oh, my kids, I expect more of them.
Yeah.
It's okay if I fail.
Loser, loser. What a loser. Look at you.
And the time paid heavily.
Look at you, you
happens?
loser.
Amber calls. She calls. Thank God, I know Natan must be thinking, his mom. His mom. And he has not told his dad a thing. And why should he? He's going to get punished either way. That's how it works with Tim Jr. You either lied to me or you did it and now you're going to pay. Mama gets on the phone. And first words out of his mouth, Mommy, I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to do it. That's his little cry for help. Mommy, help me, save me. And she tries to step in, trying to call Tim Jr. down, calm him down. She hears him in the background. Son, you could have not killed me. You could have killed yourself.
Yeah.
She tries to calm him down. You've heard her voice messages. She's calm. She knows how to talk to this man when he gets riled up. He was hearing nothing because when he heard his little boy confess to his mother, it's all over.
Wow.
And when she tried to intervene, he said, "You always taken up for the kids." And when she tried to speak again, he said, "Shut the F up," and killed that call. Natan didn't die of overexertion, folks.
Yeah.
He met white-hot rage at that point. We'll never know the cause, but it wasn't punishment at that point. It was
Murder.
absolute rage.
That's the first child he killed him. Watch.
And Mira, he had also singled her out. He knew she wanted to go live with her mom. What a sin. And that night, when he brutally murders his children, when he goes through and brutally murders every child, and you've heard the story. You've heard the story. He kills Natan, and what's his first thought? My life is over. Tim, you're effed. He consciously decides not to call 911. He downloads a movie clip while his son is dead and watches a gang rape scene in prison because he knows that's my life. What's he do with Mira? He takes her to go get cigarettes. He's got to think. I got to think. I got to think. What am I doing? I got a dead child. My life's over. Where's this going? Why did he take Mira? Because that little girl would have gone for hell. Eli, scared to death, but Daddy, I'm on your side. He leaves that little 7-year-old with his dead brother. and 2 little infants. What kind of man is that? What kind of man is that?
Animal.
Is he the worst of the worst?
Yes, he's the worst of the worst, man. Take him, man. Take him outside and shoot him in front of the courthouse. This is the South. In New York.
And he comes home, and he comes to Eli, and Dad's made a decision. He's done what you folks are going to have to do. He deliberated. I'm a one-man jury.
Judge or jury. And
I
executioner.
have before me life and death. He sentenced his kids to death. And as the judge, the sole judge in that house, he entered that decree, and then he became the executioner. He comes to Eli. Eli, who's been loyal. And what are Eli's words? Dad, take me with. Is that how he spoke? Or were those hands already on that child's neck? He's pleading. Dad, I haven't abandoned. I'm choosing you. Take me with you. Dad's already entered the decree. Death. He squeezes that child's neck so hard it breaks that hyoid bone.
Damn.
3 to 5 minutes he had to hold that while Mira.
Watches.
Oh my God. Your second brother died.
Damn, man. Those
Then
kids.
he had to chase her down. And she screams, no, no, no. What horror is going through her?
Fear.
Think of the horror in that house. Don't you know those other kids are crying? There's loud screaming. There's crying. There's agony. You know how kids are.
That's right.
Particularly little ones. They don't know what's going on. Everybody's in distress. What do? They cry.
Yep.
And oh my gosh, the distress in that house. He grabs Mira. No, no, no. He looks at her in the eyes. Does he give her mercy?
Nope.
She makes one final appeal, trying to find the dad inside the beast that has his hands on her throat.
Yep.
Daddy, I love you.
He doesn't
He's
care.
asking for mercy, and he hears that, and he crushes her neck.
Damn.
Chokes her.
Fucking animal, man.
Holds her till she is dead. Mercy?
No.
And then, why? All right, these kids can speak. They can say what happened. Why the 2 younger ones?
Right.
Why Gabe?
Yes.
He's not going to talk to the police and Abigail. My gosh, she's just a year.
You're old, man. What a fucking animal, man.
No one else gets my dream.
Oh,
If I can't have these kids, no one will. Not Amber, not my parents, no one. This is mine. And if I'm on the run, by God, I'm burning this down. And he took their lives too. Gabe, that same hand was too big for that child's neck. That means he tried it.
wait, hold on. Hold on. The baby's neck is too small for his hands. So he has to use, I think, a belt to kill her. Shows you how evil this piece of shit. When you listen to this closing argument, you want to take this piece of shit outside and just shoot him right in front of the court, like the way they used to do in the old South. This is in South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina. It's unbelievable what this person did to his children.
And so he took that belt of discipline, wrapped around their necks and pulled it tight.
Damn.
Why those children died, including Abigail.
Yeah.
She had just begun to taste life. And on the 6th of September, he gets stopped in Mississippi. You heard Marty Patterson, he's out there. He shows up to the scene. He's on the phone with law enforcement in Lexington County. And he tells his deputy, go over there. Tim Jones, who's sitting in the back of a squad car, go over there and ask him where his kids are. We know he's got 5 kids. Where are the kids? Marty Patterson, the cop, where are those 5 kids? The response comes back from that man, I don't have any kids. Marty Patterson's not having any of that. Go back over there and ask that man where his 5 kids are. And the response comes back from this man, Tim Jones Jr., I've got 3 kids.
Whoa.
You know why it's 3?
He hates the other 2.
He disowned 2.
Wow.
Who wanted to go with Mama?
They're already dead, and he still disowned them, that piece of shit. They're already dead.
Even in death, he had just dumped their bodies off that day. That's what's in his heart. Is he the worst of the worst?
Yes, he is.
Is this a man that merits mercy?
Nope.
Officers go to that scene. They find those bodies, and they can say, well, he led them there.
Yes.
After he confessed on the 8th about killing them, what did he have to lose? He's a good guy. Have mercy on him. He led them to the bags he put the bodies of his kids in. But what did they find there on the 9th? They find each child is placed in garbage bags and dumped out in the wilderness. Y'all saw that video clip during the daylight. Did you see how hard, if but for the smell, you could walk right by it? But there was something else about that clip. Did you hear the bug life? It's September. It's blistering hot. It's Alabama, a lot like South Carolina. They're in black bags. There are bugs.
Look at you, you fucking loser. Look at you.
That's where he left his kids.
Look at you, you loser. You're always going to be a loser all your life.
What does it tell you about a man who takes a precious family portrait of some of those beautiful kids you'll ever see?
Yep, some of those kids.
Who wanted nothing more than to be loved by their dad, by their mom. They had capacity to love both. They had the capacity to love one another. Look at them. They're not fighting and bickering over where they're going to sit.
Yeah.
They're okay piling on top of one another. This is a beautiful family.
Damn, man.
That man couldn't see it.
Oh, he can't.
Took that picture and turned it into this.
Woo.
Black garbage bags with police placards on them.
I know the defense lawyer is going to listen. Roy, it's over for you, man. It's over, man. I cannot respond to this, man. Can't. What I'm going to say? What I'm going to get up there and say?
They no longer have names. They're 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Damn.
That man, the second life left in Natan's body, he no longer has the right to be called dad.
Oh.
No father does that to his children.
Nope.
He even said as much. But you remember his response? But on the other hand, they're already dead, so F it.
Wow. Now, mind you, there's a tape of him telling the police all this stuff. The lawyer, this is not from an investigation. That idiot told everything. He described how he killed every single kid, how he did it, what they say. So everything the lawyers say right now is what Roy said to the police when they were interviewing him. The whole thing is the man, yes, he has mental issues, but to kill 5 children under the age of 8, one of them was 1 year old. And when they stopped, he said he only has 3 because the other 2, because they're so young and they left their mother, he disowned them. He's a sick puppy, man.
Mercy.
No mercy. No mercy! What mercy?
You heard so much about his family. So much where he came from. You heard Miss Gray get up here and talk about patterns. It's his DNA. It's his bad, violent past. It's his broken homes. Look, all of that's bad. But the suggestion is, my gosh, you mix all that together, of course he's going to be a murderer.
Yes.
Even though the other kids haven't done that. Even though Dad, whose life is harder, didn't become a murderer.
Oh. I had a hard life. I didn't kill
And
nobody.
Roberta, who sounds like she had the hardest life of all, she killed no one. She committed her mistakes.
I only got 3 subscribers, and I'm still okay with that.
What is Junior's excuse? The only pattern you really see are choices. He's not the product of a bad DNA milkshake, sprung out Tim, and you instantly have a murderer. This is a guy who had gifts. He had gifts. And he had 5 beautiful treasures.
Wow.
never lacked for attention. His dad went to all his events. His dad went to his graduations. It's a pattern of choices, and he has chosen
Be an asshole.
to be what he is today, which is a murderer.
Yep.
There is no excuse around. There is no, it was just written in the stars. He chose it.
Yep.
He had risen above the mire.
Right.
And that family was so proud of him, knowing that they helped him. He chose to be what he is. Pattern that you see is just choices. It's just choices. There were some good ones and a whole string of bad ones, and the worst led him right there in that chair.
Right.
Because that's who he is.
Look at him.
And you heard from the family. I'm not going to pass any judgment on a family who's been through what they've been through. But they've said they've rallied around Tim. It's brought their family closer together. Maybe they're straining for a silver lining, folks. Maybe to cope. Maybe they have to absolutely embrace the notion that he is sick, that he's insane. How else does that family deal with that kind of pain? Do they just feel the heartache that someone they loved committed the most horrendous crime, so they hate him and mourn for their kids? What's left of the family?
Nothing.
They're straining.
Yep.
Tim's sick. Timmy. He's no longer Tim, it's Timmy. They rally around him. And who absolutely indulges in that? Tim.
Yep. That piece of shit.
Timmy.
Look how he points at him.
He's fine spending all day in a room. Y'all heard that as a child. You heard that from his Intel co-workers. He's okay being in a room, but he craves that attention. And he's got every family member now checking on Timmy. How you doing? Are you good? And for him, it's not his fault. And he can never admit it's his fault to his family. I'm sick. He had a phone call. And we played it, everybody's going, holy cow, what is this? I can't even hear it. And then you started hearing a little bit more, a little bit more. You play it in the background, listen to it a little bit more. This phone call is just 3 months. 3 months. 2 days shy of 3 months of him murdering his 5 kids. 3 months. And you hear it's his dad, his Aunt Bernadine, and his cousin Blake. And they talk about divorce. And Dad, the divorce he went through, his marriage to Carolyn. Do you remember Aunt Bernadine? There's always somebody who hurts, and there's always an asshole. And the implication was Amber. Amber's the asshole.
Wow.
Remember hearing that? They all kind of laugh. And you remember his response? You got that right, Annie.
Yeah.
And they talk about all the sickness in the family, and they're kind of laughing.
Misfits.
And Jones going, yeah, they think I'm crazy in here. And they all kind of chuckle. And he goes, I can tell I'm with good company. Then you start getting down to the gist of it. He says, and they get quiet. He says, how do you respond to this? I feel like I went insane. Not that I am. I went insane. You go insane, there has to be a catalyst, and the catalyst was Natan.
Yeah.
Dad, don't you remember, here's the manipulation, don't you remember how I always wanted my mom and she wasn't there? Justifying it to his dad. I saw that in Natan, I didn't want that for him. Was he caring for Natan? No.
Oh.
He lost it. Because that night, Natan wanted to be with his mommy.
Yeah.
Don't you know after mommy hung up, or I got shut off that phone, he was crying for mom. Mom, mom, mom. There was nowhere to hear, no one to hear.
Yeah.
except his submittance. What he faced was not punishment at that point. It was rage.
Murder.
He says, I snapped. I lost it. Tells you that. And then he makes the most incredible statement of all. So you see, you can put this one on Amber. Because if she had been home instead of next door, bopping the boy next door, none of this would have happened. 3 months after he has killed his kids. That's the words of this man. Do you think a life sentence is going to have a Tim Jones Jr. sitting in the cell thinking about what he did?
No.
Do you think that's what he does sitting in that room? He blames Cindy. She's in my head. He blames Natan. He blames Amber. But I'm insane, so whatever I did, I get a pass. And you heard in this phase, Timmy. Why was that? Why do you think you kept hearing Timmy? Miss Gray, who supposedly chronicled his whole life, and she seemed to leave out anything good. Don't you know he got all kinds of accolades in school? Did you hear a single one of those? You weren't supposed to.
Yeah.
Her job was to find all the darkness in that family, expound upon it, and feed it to the experts who were trying to tell you there's something wrong with Timmy, including Dr. Maddox, who testified, oh, he's schizophrenic. I can tell you psychotic day one. You didn't hear much of an evaluation, did you? Nothing like what Frierson did, but multiple meetings trying to figure out who is this guy, does he really have a problem? You've been down that road. And so the plea seems to be, he's just a child. He's just a little child. Why are they doing that? So you will forget these kids. And the punishment is just send Timmy to his room. Make him think about what he's done. If you think that's the fit punishment for this case, do it.
You piece of garbage. Spit on him.
Folks, it is that man manipulating his family, their love and their pain, the pain he inflicted on them. He's using it. He's twisting it. He's gearing it and putting them on the stand. He's reaching for you.
Kill him! Kill him!
I feel guilty.
Take him outside and shoot him, man. After that, I will shoot myself after that.
And you heard there's a pastor saying every man can have a purpose. He can have a purpose in life.
Yeah, but not that.
You can't give it to him. The jury can't give a man purpose. It is up to the individual to determine what purpose you're going to have. If he wants a purpose, he doesn't need to ask you. He doesn't need to put that on you.
Yeah.
That's not really sincerely asking. That's a guilt trip.
Yeah.
A dying man can have a purpose.
Yes.
But I'll tell you something, your verdict, your judgment, if you speak death, if you believe that is what fits this crime, this god-awful crime, maybe, as it's cast out across the media and it's headlines and it's on TV, maybe somebody else will hear. Maybe there's another dad. Maybe some other father will go, my God. That's me. Maybe he'll stop and get off that track that Tim Jones took. Maybe. But your real purpose here, what punishment fits this crime?
Death. Death. Death.
Now, you've heard about Tim Jones, but you've heard about the children too.
Yeah.
Who they are.
Yep. Give them the names.
We needed to show you that, folks.
Yes.
They deserve us to present to you. They're not just kids.
Yes. They're human
They're
beings.
not just beautiful pictures.
Individuals.
They're human beings.
That's right.
We had to turn to teachers because they knew so much about these kids. They were so invested in these kids. They loved them.
Yes.
We turned to Joy Laura, who knew the two younger ones, but she knew all of them. A woman who wept for these little kids that she cherished. And each of these kids, they all had their dreams, their unique gifts, their characteristics that they offered. Mira, full of life, full of love.
Unbelievable.
And what did she love to do? She loved the mommy role that was missing. Taking care of Abigail, holding this small child who loved to be held. She loved being a big sister. She loved playing with Gabe and Abigail. You can't ask for a better daughter than this. This is a gift. It's a love.
Wow. He's putting that thing on there.
This is love.
Humanize them, humanize the kids.
And notice something.
Let them see their faces.
It's love among the siblings.
Right.
How do these little children have that kind of love? Where does it come from?
Yeah.
But it's there. And she had dreams.
Look at it, eating
Carried
every
on
word of
school,
his,
keeps track.
eating every
Now,
word
Mira
he's
was
saying.
behind, but,
Look
she
at
got
that.
so much further ahead after she started working. And all the care these teachers gave her. My personal mission statement. I will be a fantastic daughter. That's number one. A fantastic daughter.
Loser!
Man, that is love. I will be a helpful sister.
Yep.
I will be a super student. Every day I will do my work and make good grades.
Yes.
When I grow up, I want to be a nurse. When I grow up. Book was closed on her
Wow.
by that man over there who called himself Daddy.
This guy's amazing, man. I just
Eli?
Guilty!
7 years old when he died.
How could you kill those ladies? Man?
Did you hear what his teachers said? His teachers who knew him. If there was a child in the room who didn't have a friend, Eli would seek them out. If they're working on a project and somebody was left out, she didn't have to tell somebody
Loser.
to go
Oh, fuck. I don't even want to see his
partner
face,
with
man.
that child. It was Eli. That was one of his gifts.
I wonder what he's thinking.
And in that home, that brutal, ugly home, he reached out to his brother, Natan. It's here. All About My Brother by Elias Jones. He draws two pictures. One boy saying, "Can I have it?" and the other one saying, "Yes." He's handing him a toy.
Make
I
those
love
stories.
time. He gives me things to play with. And he gives me stuff that I want.
Excuse me. Huh. Wow.
God, thank you for my brother.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You did wonderful, God.
Good
making
coffee, man.
My brother. I love you, God.
Oof.
That was within this family.
Yeah.
All the rage they were taking care
Sorry.
of one another. In a time
I go
left
pee,
on
man.
his own, just wanted a hero, Woody. He loved Woody, and his dad knew it. Another way to you're going to need a looking bag too. And Abigail.
I show all the pictures now.
Why? Look in the bag. Look what he did to that little child. And please, folks, don't forget the time.
Forget the kids.
It was crammed in a bag with Ninja Turtle bedding. Crammed in that bag. And you're going to notice something. Both Natan and Mira, no clothes. There's nothing sexual here. But it's his dad's hatred. Who is he going to chop up first, Natan?
Damn, you lose it. Look at you, lose it.
He was
Look
going
at
to
you.
chop them up.
Put your lips
It's
like
not
that.
because you had
Smack
a
that
change of
smirk off
heart.
your face.
You don't buy
Let me smack him!
saw that you used to cut sheetrock
Right.
to cut bodies up with. That's why. And muriatic acid won't eat up a body. But you'll find that bottle's empty. But 2 people are stripped down. I won't tell you. It's to be destroyed. So he can destroy them. But you have any doubt, look in the bags. If you have any doubt about what is appropriate, what this monstrous crime deserves, if you have any inkling that there might be a doubt in your mind and your heart, just look in these bags. You'll find the answer.
Play witness.
Now, you see, I wanted to show you. That was epic, right? That was epic, man. Unbelievable. You saw that? Oh, my gosh. That was unbelievable, man. That's, the closing argument was strong. Sorry I made that mistake because, I'm new at this. Let me just put it. I mean, he made the case, man. That was so emotional. I mean, he humanized the kids. He made that idiot look like a devil, wish he's a devil. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. We're going to have much more of these trials or integration or interviews with police. And we just, grow together. Thank you. And goodbye. That was a serious thing, and I'm acting like an idiot, am I? Take care.